We're diving deep into something critical today, something that affects every one of us, the media and the way it shapes our world. Now, we all know how important it is to have a free and fair press, right? But what happens when that freedom is used to twist narratives, softball the powerful, and leave the rest of us in the dark? It's no secret that the media has the power to influence how we think, what we believe, and ultimately, how we act. Just recently, former President Donald Trump brought up a compelling case, one that many of us might relate to. He shared his thoughts on the way the media handles high-profile figures like Vice President Kamala Harris. According to Trump, instead of asking the tough, pressing questions that Americans deserve to hear, the media is throwing her softball questions, shielding her from real scrutiny. And it doesn't end there. He even called out media personalities like Howard Stern, once a strong figure in the press world, now struggling to maintain his relevance. Stern's interviews, in Trump's view, have become weak and laughable. But that's not all. Trump didn't hold back when it came to celebrities either. He talked about Whoopi Goldberg, recalling her once enthusiastic support before his political career changed everything. Back then, she even asked him to appear in a movie. Yet now, she's one of his loudest critics. Trump exposes what he calls the hypocrisy behind the scenes, the false narratives that unfold when politics turns once friendly faces into enemies. Donald Trump didn't mince words when he talked about the media's treatment of high-profile figures, particularly Vice President Kamala Harris. According to him, the press isn't doing its job when it comes to holding people accountable. Instead of the tough questions that challenge leaders, Trump suggests that Harris is getting what he calls a softball treatment. We've all seen interviews where tough topics are avoided, but in this case, Trump believes it goes deeper. It's about protecting certain political figures from real scrutiny. But why does this matter? The media is supposed to be the watchdog, the institution that asks the difficult questions, that digs into the truth, and that keeps power in check. When the press becomes biased or selective in who they challenge, it can sway public opinion unfairly. Trump's frustration here taps into a wider feeling that many share, that some politicians get an easy ride from the media, while others are held under a microscope. This double standard can create a narrative that feels curated rather than truthful, leaving many viewers questioning the fairness of what they see on TV. And it's not just about Harris. Trump extends this criticism to media figures like Howard Stern. Once seen as a bold voice in media, Stern has, according to Trump, fallen into the trap of weak questioning, too concerned with staying in favor with certain political groups rather than challenging them. It's a sharp criticism, especially considering Trump's history with Stern. He was a frequent guest on the show in the past, but now claims that Stern's performance has diminished along with his ratings. Trump doesn't hold back when recounting his past interactions with the actress and television personality. Once, before he entered the political arena, Whoopi Goldberg was actually quite friendly toward him. Trump recalls her enthusiastically suggesting that he'd make a great president, even asking him to make a walk-on appearance in a movie she was working on. It's a moment that seems almost surreal, given the harsh words she has for him today. But this is where Trump's criticism sharpens. According to Trump, the moment he stepped into politics, the tone from people like Whoopi shifted drastically. Gone were the compliments and friendly gestures. In their place, Trump claims, came biting remarks and personal attacks. He refers to Goldberg's current stance as a reflection of how quickly politics can turn former allies into critics. For Trump, this isn't just about one celebrity's opinion. It's a larger statement about how individuals and even entire industries like entertainment and media can flip when politics gets involved. But what really stood out to Trump was Whoopi's behavior during a past event where he had hired her as a comedian. He paints a vivid picture of an evening that went completely awry. Trump describes Goldberg's language as filthy and disgusting, claiming that her performance was so inappropriate that half the crowd walked out. This, according to Trump, was the breaking point. He vowed never to hire her again, shocked by the vulgarity she displayed in front of what he described as a group of respectable people. For Trump, this personal story about Whoopi Goldberg isn't just about a comedian's failed performance. It's part of a broader pattern. He sees it as an example of how some in the entertainment industry present a polished, politically correct image on screen, but behind the scenes, things can be very different. Trump doesn't stop at individuals like Howard Stern or Whoopi Goldberg. His criticism extends to the entire media landscape, which he believes is no longer an impartial watchdog, but rather a partner in what he calls a crime. He refers to the press as complicit in shielding certain political figures like Kamala Harris from real accountability. In his view, it's not just about the softball questions, but about a systemic issue where certain narratives are pushed while others are suppressed. Trump often points to shows like The View as prime examples. He recalls watching the hosts, including Whoopi Goldberg, handle political discussions in a way that feels more like a performance than a real examination of the facts. He paints the media as a group of players on the same team, working together to protect some political figures while attacking others relentlessly. For Trump, this bias is not only frustrating but dangerous, as it creates an uneven playing field in the court of public opinion. This raises a larger question. If the media isn't doing its job to challenge all leaders fairly, how can we trust the information we're being fed? Trump suggests that when the press plays favorites, it's not just politicians like him who suffer, it's the public. When only one side of the story is told, people are left without the full picture, and that affects how we vote, how we engage with society, and how we understand the world around us. But is Trump's critique fair? Are we truly seeing media bias on such a large scale? Or is this simply how the political game has always been played? One thing's for sure, Trump's pointed accusations have struck a chord with many who feel the media doesn't always serve the public's best interest. Whether you agree with him or not, his claims force us to ask tough questions about the role of the press in a democratic society. The statements made by Donald Trump shine a light on significant issues regarding media integrity and accountability. The need for a free and fair press has never been more critical. When the media fails to ask the hard questions, it not only undermines the democratic process, but also limits the public's understanding of important political matters. Trump's observations about the treatment of figures like Kamala Harris reveal a troubling pattern, one where bias can skew narratives and create false perceptions. Softball questions may provide comfort to politicians, but they also prevent the necessary scrutiny that keeps our leaders honest and accountable. The contrasting behavior of public figures, such as Whoopi Goldberg, serves as a reminder of how quickly alliances can shift in the world of politics. The transition from praise to scorn illustrates how personal interests and political agendas often intertwine, leaving genuine discourse in the dust. When entertainers and media personalities prioritize their positions over truth, it compromises their credibility. The public deserves transparency, especially from those who wield significant influence in shaping opinions. Moving forward, we must advocate for a media landscape that prioritizes fairness, challenges all leaders equally, and seeks to inform rather than manipulate public opinion. The future of our democracy relies on a press that holds power to account, encourages diverse viewpoints, and promotes open dialogue. Let's take Trump's observations as a call to action, engage with the media critically, demand better from those in power, and always seek the truth. Together, we can strive for a more informed and equitable society.